had LeBron right in prime time.
Well, you knew the Lakers would be exactly where they were, and they should be. The defending champs. They're the overwhelming favorites. They have the best player in the league. What I found most interesting was who they're playing, because they're playing Luka. That's who they're playing is Luka, not the Mavs. It's Luka, and I think it's incredibly smart by the league. You have the face of the league of the last 15 years in LeBron up against the guy who I believe is going to be the face of the league the next decade, and I'll make my first NBA season prediction right here on this show. Luka's going to win the league MVP this year, Colin. I mean, he's played 6 career playoff games, and he already has as many career playoff triple-doubles as Steph or Jordan.
Yeah.
He already has more career 40-point playoff games than Giannis. I think he's going to be league MVP, and I think the NBA knows you can rely on him.
Yes.
So I think it's partially, you knew LeBron was going to be there, but it was curious who were they going to be playing. And to me, this is the league coronating Luka as the next big thing, and I think that is exactly right.
I've often said, Nick, that don't just judge people by what they do when they arrive, but what happens when they leave. Like when Jim Harbaugh left the Niners, they struggled for 5 years. Harbaugh absolutely knows how to coach, although he struggled at Michigan this year. Brady has left New England. Cam is not untalented. It is a disaster offensively. And if you look at Brady's numbers, take out Mahomes, take out Russell, take out Aaron, those guys are, it's different. He's 43. That we're kind of overstating Brady's struggles a bit. Is that fair?
No, it's not fair at all. And I saw your blind resumes. I thought they were almost as unfair as anything you've done. There's a lot of things I want to discuss here, so I'm glad you asked me about it. You put up Brady's stats, and you were like, hey, he's first in attempts. As if attempts is attempts. I'm first in shot attempts. Well, how many are you making? What's your percentage? Because he's 23rd in yards per attempt, which I think is a little more relevant. You also, it was surprising, you left out a very important stat he's second in the league in. Interceptions. That didn't make your old list right there. Then you were like, hey, here's a blind resume. Brady and a quarterback we love. And the quarterback we love was Kyler Murray. But you didn't include what is 40% of Kyler's game, which is what he does with his legs. What Brady does with his legs is uses them to cushion his fall when he's avoiding a sack. And then you're like, hey, here's another blind resume. Brady versus a quarterback we all loved. And it was Tom Brady last year. And I'm like, well, there are some of us, most notably me, who told you last year he stunk too. So no, I give you no quarter on this whatsoever. He was on the decline last season. I told you about it. Now, clearly, Cam has been awful. I love Cam. Either his shoulder's not right or something's wrong with him. Post-COVID, I don't know. But he hasn't been good. But the Brady defense, you know how I knew the Brady defense was coming? I'm going to reveal something to the audience right here.
Yeah.
Colin called me midway through Brady's third quarter meltdown to distract me from watching my beloved Chiefs annihilate his beloved Tom Brady. He called me. He's like, so, what do you think about the Georgia elections coming up? I'm like, Colin, I'm watching football. He's like, no, let's talk. And I actually ended up having to hang up on him because he was trying to distract me from watching Brady throw the game away. So I'm not going to allow that to happen here.
All right, fair enough. So we know, it almost goes without saying, is that in baseball you can't win a World Series with a bad bullpen. You just can't. Dodgers almost did, by the way.
Sure.
And then in the NFL, as good as Patrick Mahomes is, he wouldn't be as good running for his life, is that the Chiefs' offensive line is pretty darn good. You have to have a decent offensive line. So Carson Wentz is missing a Pro Bowl left tackle, a Pro Bowl guard, and the kid they drafted last year, Andre Dillard, doesn't play. And he's running for his life, and he made the Seahawks look like the 75 Steelers. He's running for his life. Jalen Reagor can't separate. Zach Ertz isn't playing. Alshon Jeffrey shot. Can't we at least acknowledge that he had a very solid year last year, and some of this is they're out of players again. They don't have any difference makers, and he's running for his life on every play.
So here's my issue with Carson. And I had been very high on Carson.
Yes.
And I no longer am. At some point, he turns 28 this month. He's in year 5. He's on a massive contract. Some of this has to be on him. And he has an uncanny ability to turn a bad play into a horrendous play. In 2017, what made him great was he was under duress, he was under pressure, and somehow he made magic happen. This year, he's under duress, he's under pressure, and he's turning a sack into a fumble. He's turning a throwaway into an interception, and that's a huge problem. So I will adjust for talent and injury accordingly, but he is, statistically speaking, the worst quarterback in football. So if he were having a down year, and it's like the offensive line, the wide receivers, if he was like the 18th ranked quarterback in football, then maybe. But when he is right now the 36th ranked quarterback in football, and there's only 32 teams, it's got to somewhat be on him. And this whole idea that he got his feelings hurt by them drafting Jalen Hurts, I'm not here for that. I like it's professional football. And they gave you a big contract. You're getting paid. You need to play better. So I'm as down on Wentz right now as I ever have been.
So I've said this for years. Valuable isn't best, greatest, or statistically superior. Valuable means what are they without you? Mahomes is better than Rodgers. One of the reasons I like him isn't talent. It's that Mahomes plays much better from behind. There's a coolness to him. A connectivity with his teammates. His body language is great. It just comes out of every pore. You'd never feel out of a game. And when Aaron plays from behind, I don't even like his body language. I just don't even like the way he looks. But so Mahomes is better. But most valuable player. Mahomes has a better coach. He's got better weapons. I think Rodgers is the MVP, most valuable player in the league. Fair this year?
I mean, it's not unfair. It's also not right. Mahomes is the best and the most valuable player. 2 points on this one. And Rodgers, I think, should come in second. In 2011, Drew Brees set the all-time record for completion percentage, set the all-time record for passing yards. His team went 13-3, and he didn't win league MVP. Because Aaron Rodgers that year, his team went 15-1. He had 45 touchdowns to 6 picks, and it was just impossible to vote for someone else. That's where I think we're headed with Mahomes, where Rodgers is going to play the Brees role and Mahomes is going to play the role Rodgers did. But there's one other point on this I want you to make, and I'm going to ask you, as my close personal friend and mentor, to join this with me. There is a burgeoning media narrative that the Packers drafted Jordan Love not as a player, but as an emotional cudgel, as a motivational tool for Aaron Rodgers, and that therefore makes it a savvy pick. It is a ridiculous assertion, and it must be debunked. If I came to dinner tonight and told my 15-year-old daughter, honey, I blew the college fund on gambling this weekend, and then she goes on to get a scholarship, that doesn't make it a great parenting move that I blew the money. It means I got bailed out by someone else's brilliance.
Right.
And this idea that Brian Gutekunst, who passed on DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown 3 times, Terry McLaurin 4 times, and then drafted a guy who right now can't beat out Tim Boyle to be their second-string quarterback, that he's going to get credit for motivating Rodgers, it's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
So I need you to join with me on this and not be a part of that narrative, please.
Yeah, I talked about this earlier today. I'm supposed to believe that Aaron Rodgers was lazy and apathetic and didn't work hard, and Jordan Love at practice, he's like,
insane.
Oh my God, I've got to really go to practice. I got to show up on time now.
Yes.
Makes no sense.
It's an awful, and a lot of people believe it, and they're like Gutekunst playing 4-dimensional chess. He's playing Connect 4 at best, and Rodgers is bailing him out, and it bothers me where this is going. So thank you for that, Colin.
Good seeing you, buddy. First things first, Nick Wright. Have a good day, bud.
You too.
All right. Coming up next, the college football playoff rankings. I don't even care who finished in the top 4 because we know they're really good. I have another complaint. And it's about, Nick was just ripping the media. I'm going to rip the media because they do this every year, and it's absurd, and I'll talk about it next. The holidays are one of the busiest times on the road, more so than ever. Actually, the traffic I have noticed, I drive to work every day, and I drive past LAX every day, and it always jams up a little bit pre-COVID. Then with COVID, it didn't jam up. It's starting to There's more cars on the road now. There's more people hiring. The economy's getting back a little bit. I don't know. It just feels like you're on the road more. I'm on the road more. And if you are and your warranty runs out, do you have carshield.com? Customizable plans start as low as $99 a month. Always protected. Roadside assistance 24/7, 365. You choose the mechanic. Could be the dealership you bought your car from. CarShield does the rest. Helped over 1 million drivers. They're America's #1 auto protection company. Be confident if the check engine light comes on. CarShield.com, code HERD, 10% off. CarShield.com, code HERD. Or call 800-665-2157 and mention the code. A deductible may apply. CarShield.